Mark, good to see you. We're doing a little myth busting today. Your 401k is not a retirement plan. Everyone's most favorite retirement account, the 401k, is a great way to save, but it is just a tool, not a strategy. So, what are some of the biggest risks of relying on just a tax deferred 401k for retirement?
Yeah, so thank you so much, Aaron. The 401k, it's really an accumulation vehicle.
Yeah.
And that's what it's been positioned as. That's what it should be used for. But it's really not relevant relative to creating income and growth in retirement. So, one of the biggest risks that we find in a tax deferred 401k really comes from the tax side. Because these people that have been really good savers, they did everything that they were told. They dotted the I's, crossed the T's, ultimately are going to get penalized for being a good saver. And it's really the biggest fee we have to understand that we're going to pay in retirement. Now, see, the biggest cost is healthcare. The biggest fee is the tax. And nobody knows exactly how much tax they're going to pay until they take the money out. But we do know that we're in some of the lowest tax brackets right now. So it doesn't make any sense to continue to defer those taxes when we know we're going to be paying much higher taxes down the road. And with required minimum distributions, that becomes forced taxation.
I'm glad you brought that up because there's a reason, of course, 401ks are known as tax time bombs beyond just being tax deferred. You just hit the nail on the head. Required minimum distributions, these can push you into a higher tax bracket in retirement.
Yeah, so this is a dilemma for a lot of people that have been really good savers. And again, if we don't need this income, because see, a lot of us want to hold on to it and they don't want to spend it because your whole life has been indoctrinated in accumulating it. But then the government's going to say, look, whether you turn 73 or 75, depending on what year you were born, they're going to say, you got to take it out. And that could throw you into much higher tax brackets because think about it. Kids are out. You don't have those deductions. You don't have your mortgages paid off if you've done that. You don't have any deductions or exemptions anymore. And you got Social Security coming in. So it's getting taxed at the highest rate at up to 85%. And then you might even be in IRMA or have surcharges on your Medicare Part B premiums. So rather than paying the standard Medicare Part B premium, you're paying maybe 3 times as much, and that becomes a permanent fixture in your life. So the government is really becoming a beneficiary in a lot of your hard work that you put together for the last 40 years to accumulate all that wealth.
And just to remind people who are watching, those Roth accounts don't have RMDs.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So really, we want to be switching and our mentality to say, okay, how do we get more in that tax-free bucket?
Yeah, really good point. So this brings us to my next question though, Mark, which is something you touched on a second ago. Why would we want to pay our taxes now?
So if you think about it, we're in the lowest tax rates we've been in 44 years. In fact, if you take from 1913 to now, the average highest marginal rate is 57.5. Currently, we're at 37%. Go back to 1970, for example. Well, the top tax bracket was 70%, but we only had a $350 billion deficit.
Yeah.
Today, we have a 37% top tax bracket, but we have a $36 trillion deficit. The writing's on the wall. The only way out of this is to increase revenue via taxation and fees, and that's coming. So if I have the option within my 401k now to put it in the Roth side, pay taxes while taxes are on sale, I'm going to benefit from that when tax rates are higher when I have to pull it out. Same thing with looking at Roth conversions or even cash value life insurance to convert more of that tax deferred money now while tax rates are on sale, get it into that tax-free bucket, and then reap the benefit when tax rates go up. And on top of that, there's no required minimum distribution. There's no forced taxation at that point. So really, Aaron, it gets down to paying taxes on our terms, not the government's terms.
Right. So it all comes down to turning your savings into an income stream. And you just touched on a few strategies, but just lay it out for us. What should we be considering in addition to that tax-deferred 401k?
So again, besides the tax-deferred 401k, we would want to make sure or check that our employer actually has a Roth feature
Mm.
to that 401k. That would be where I would go first if I'm working. Even if I'm still working and I don't have that option, do I have the ability to contribute to a Roth IRA? We'd also want to look at Roth conversions and even looking at cash value life insurance, because if it's structured correctly, that can be a huge benefit, creating tax-free income. Obviously, we can also use it to pay for long-term care and a number of other things, but that could be a critical piece to that overall retirement income puzzle.
Mm. Well, Mark, clearly a lot to consider here. If somebody wants to talk to you more about turning their retirement savings into an income stream in retirement, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, it's real easy. I mean, just give us a call. Our phone number is 303-681-0113. And really anybody on our team can talk to you. I mean, if you want to set up an appointment, a Zoom call, whatever you're comfortable with, we'd love to chat with you, get a second opinion. Secondly, if you want, go to our website. It's mcgregorwealth.com. There's lots of resources, and also there's a calendar, and you can link your calendar to mine and pick a time that works for you, and then we can have that conversation.
That's great. Mark, thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Erin.